Now that you know how to graph a line by creating an XY chart, let's explore a faster way to graph. If you graph using the y-intercept and the slope, you can graph a line quicker because you don't have to solve an equation several times to get coordinates. To start, we need a linear equation that's in slope-intercept form. This means that y has to be alone on one side of the equation, like with y equals mx+b. Y is alone on the left side of the equation. Once y is by itself, you can easily find the slope, m, and the y-intercept, b. In this equation, y equals 3/4, x plus 1, we're going to start with the 1. This is the y-intercept. You can tell it's the y-intercept because it doesn't have an x next to it. It's called the y-intercept because it tells us where the line is going to intercept or cross the y-axis. We begin by graphing the y-intercept, 1. Since we know it's going to cross the y-axis, we can start at the origin and go up 1 square. Put a dot to mark the spot. Now we can deal with the slope, which tells us how steep the line will be. If y is all by itself, then the slope is the number right in front of x. The slope for our equation is 3/4. We're going to start with the dot we marked for the y-intercept. The top number of the slope, or numerator, tells us how far to go up or down. Since we have a positive number, we will go up 3 squares from the dot. But don't put another dot just yet. We still have to work with the bottom number or denominator. The denominator tells us how far to go left or right. We're already gone up 3 squares. Now we're going to move to the right 4 squares. This is where you put another dot. Now just connect the dots to get the line. Let's try another one. This equation has a negative slope and a negative y-intercept. For I equals -2/5, x minus 1, we're going to start with the y-intercept. Since the y-intercept is negative, start at the origin, but move down 1 square and put a dot at -1. Now we can work with the slope. Since the slope is negative, you have to choose whether you want the top to be negative or the bottom. It doesn't matter which one you choose, as long as you only make one of them negative. For this example, I will make the top negative. As always, go to the y-intercept dot you've already marked. Now look at the top number of the slope, -2. Since it's negative, we're going to start at the dot and move down 2 squares. But don't put another dot just yet. Since the bottom number is +5, we're going to turn and move 5 squares to the right. Now we can put our second dot. Connect the dots to get the graph of the line. The last example will be a little more complex. We have 2x plus 3y equals 9. Right away, you should notice that y is not by itself. We have to get y all by itself and put the equation into slope-intercept form. To get y by itself, we need to split up the equation into the right side and the left. On the left, we have 2x plus 3y. Look at the term that has no y with it, the 2x. The first step is to move this term to the right side of the equation by subtracting it from both sides. Now we have 3y equals 9 minus 2x. Now we only have a 3y on the left. Since 3 is being multiplied by y, we're going to do the opposite and break them up by dividing. But whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. When we divide the left by 3, we're left with just a y, which is exactly what we want. When we divide the right by 3, we have to remember to divide everything on the right by the 3, not just the first term. When we do this, we get 3 minus 2/3 x, because 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 2 divided by 3 is 2/3. There's only one last thing to do before graphing. We have to switch around the terms on the right side so that the term with the x is at the front. So instead of y equals 3 minus 2/3 x, we will have y equals -2/3 x plus 3. Since our equation is now in slope-intercept form, we can start graphing the line. As always, start with the y-intercept. In this case, it's 3. From the origin, we're going to move up 3 squares and put a dot to mark the y-intercept. From this dot, we're going to go down 2. Turn to the right and move over 3 squares. This is where your second dot goes. Now, just connect the dots to get your line. Graphing using the slope and y-intercept is probably the most commonly used method for graphing linear equations. Once you've practiced this method a few times, you'll be able to graph lines very quickly.